You have more tools to stay productive than any human in history. Your phone is more powerful than the computers that sent people to the moon. You have apps for everything. Calendars that sync across every device. Task managers that break work into infinite pieces. And yet, you feel more exhausted than ever. So what's happening? The paradox seems simple at first. More tools should mean more efficiency. More efficiency should mean more free time. More free time should mean less exhaustion. But that's not what's occurring. Somewhere in that chain, the system broke. And the answer isn't that you're doing too much or working too hard. The answer is that productivity itself has been weaponized against you. Consider what happened in the 1950s and 1960s. Workers measured productivity in a straightforward way. Time in, work done, time out. The metrics were crude, but they were honest. You worked 8 hours, you knew what you produced, and everyone understood the deal. Then something shifted. Measurement systems became more granular, more detailed, more obsessive. By the 1980s, productivity began to splinter. It wasn't just about output anymore. It was about efficiency, speed, optimization. Every single task started to have a metric attached to it. And once a metric exists, a curious thing happens in human systems. We optimize for that metric. We forget what the metric was supposed to measure in the first place. Gloria Mark, a researcher at UC Irvine who studies how knowledge workers actually spend their time, discovered something unsettling. On average, a modern office worker touches 57 different information sources per day. 57. And it takes them on average 23 minutes to regain focus after an interruption. Notice what that means. You switch contexts, and your attention takes more than 20 minutes to return to what you were doing before. So what have modern productivity systems done in response? They've fragmented work even further. They've created more metrics, more tracking, more notifications, more optimization points. The system has essentially declared war on deep focus, the very thing that produces meaningful work. But the metrics keep saying you're more productive. Here's where this becomes cruel. Those metrics are actually correct. You are technically more productive. You are completing more tasks. You are checking more boxes. You are moving more things across more boards. You are generating more measurable outputs. But something else is also happening that the metrics completely ignore. Adam Alter, a psychologist at New York University, calls this the efficiency trap. We optimize processes to save time, which means we can now fill that saved time with more work. More meetings, more emails, more projects, more notifications. The time savings disappear into the system itself. You get faster at writing emails, so you write more emails. You get better at multitasking, so you're now expected to handle multiple projects simultaneously. Efficiency doesn't create free time. It creates room for more work. But there's something even deeper happening that most people miss completely. When productivity becomes fragmented, work changes its nature. It stops being work you do, and it becomes work you think about. You're not always physically working, but you're always cognitively present. You're in a meeting, but you're thinking about the email you need to send. You're working on a project, but you're holding in your mind 7 other tasks waiting. The exhaustion isn't coming from what you're doing. It's coming from what you're tracking. Cal Newport, a computer scientist at Georgetown University who has studied deep work extensively, found that the average knowledge worker spends only 11% of their time on their primary responsibility. 11%. The rest is fragmented across emails, messages, meetings, and context switching. Yet, the productivity metrics seem satisfied. Why? Because the system isn't actually measuring work quality. It's measuring activity. It's measuring busyness. It's measuring the appearance of productivity. And here's what makes this system so insidious. You internalize it. You start believing that the metrics are real. You start measuring yourself the way the system measures you. You count your tasks completed. You track your email response time. You optimize your calendar. You download better apps. You attend productivity seminars. You try new frameworks. And none of it helps because you're trying to solve the wrong problem. The exhaustion isn't a productivity problem. It's a system design problem. You're not tired because you're lazy or inefficient. You're tired because the system has convinced you that every moment of your time can and should be productive. There is no slack in the system anymore. There are no margins. Every second must be optimized, tracked, and extracted for value. Your attention has become a commodity, and the system is designed to divide it into smaller and smaller pieces. Leah Weiss, a researcher at Stanford who studies the science of stress and performance, documented something critical. When workers have autonomy over when and how they work, stress hormones actually decrease. But when productivity is monitored and fragmented, stress hormones remain elevated throughout the entire day. You're in a state of constant low-level alert. Your nervous system is never actually at rest. You're not really working hard. You're just never allowed to stop. Think about what's happening in your brain during this fragmentation. Each task switch requires something called attentional residue. Your attention doesn't cleanly transfer from one task to the next. Part of your cognitive resources remain stuck to the previous task. You move to the next thing anyway, but you're operating at reduced capacity. Switch contexts enough times, and you're not operating at reduced capacity with all contexts. You're operating at reduced capacity for everything. You're trying to do everything at reduced power. The system creates a feedback loop. You feel tired, so you try to be more productive to catch up. But being more productive means more fragmentation. More fragmentation means more attentional residue. More attentional residue means more exhaustion. You're in a treadmill that speeds up whenever you run faster. The only way to survive is to accept that you'll never catch up, but the system is designed so you can never quite accept that. Modern productivity culture has created a new invisible labor. It's the labor of thinking about work, preparing to work, switching between work, worrying about work, and planning future work. This labor isn't counted anywhere. It doesn't appear on your timesheet. It's not in your job description, but it's consuming you. And the system is designed to make it seem like it's your fault, not the system's fault. You're just not managing your time well enough. You need a better app. You need a better strategy. You need to be more disciplined. But here's what the system is actually doing. It's converting meaningful work, the kind of work that requires depth, creativity, and sustained focus, into fragmented tasks. It's replacing the question, is this work meaningful? With the question, can this work be measured? And then it's convinced you that if you can't measure it, it doesn't matter. So you've started measuring things that used to be invisible. You've quantified your productivity. You've turned your attention into data. And now the system can optimize you. Heidi Grant, a psychologist who studies motivation and goal pursuit, found that when people are pursuing many goals simultaneously, not only do they perform worse on all of them, but they also experience higher levels of frustration and exhaustion. Why? Because the human brain wasn't designed to hold 17 projects in simultaneous partial attention. It was designed to focus on one thing, complete it, and then move on to the next thing. That completion gives you a sense of closure. That closure releases neurotransmitters that make you feel accomplished. But in the fragmented system, you never get closure. You just get interrupted. The system has convinced you that productivity is about completing as many tasks as possible. But that's not what productivity ever was. Productivity was about producing something meaningful, something that required effort and delivered value. The industrial system measured productivity as output per hour. The information system measures it as tasks completed per day. But neither of those measurements captures what you're actually trying to do. You're trying to do work that matters. That requires focus. That requires time. That requires margins. That requires the ability to think. And here's what breaks most people eventually. They realize that no amount of optimization will ever make them feel caught up. They could complete every task, and they'd still feel exhausted because exhaustion in this system isn't about how much work there is. It's about how fragmented work has become. It's about the gap between what you're doing and what you're tracking. It's about the cognitive load of holding everything in your mind simultaneously. The real reason you feel tired all the time isn't because you're doing too much. It's because you're thinking about too much. It's because the system has fragmented your attention into pieces small enough to optimize, but large enough to prevent you from ever feeling done. You check an item off a list, and 5 new items appear. You finish a project, and immediately move to the next one with no transition. You optimize a process, and the savings disappear into new work. You're not running faster. The treadmill is, and it's running you into the ground. What's particularly cruel is that the system feels like it's working. Your metrics are green. Your tasks are moving. Your emails are getting answered. Your productivity app shows that you're crushing it. The system is giving you constant feedback that you're succeeding. But you're exhausted. And the only explanation the system offers is that you're doing something wrong. You need a better morning routine. You need to set better boundaries. You need to meditate. You need to be more disciplined. The system never says, this system is designed to exhaust you. It says, you're not managing this system well enough. So here's what happens. Some people burn out completely. They leave work and never return to it. Others automate away the work they can, only to find new work created by the system to fill the space. Others try to create focus time by blocking their calendars. But the system creeps in through the margins, messages, notifications, urgent requests. Others try to be more strategic, working only on high-impact projects. But the system has already defined what high-impact means. It means high impact according to the metrics. And the metrics don't measure meaning. The system doesn't have a solution for you because the system is the problem. The solution would require fundamentally changing how productivity is measured and valued. It would require accepting that not all work can or should be measured. It would require trusting that deep work is more valuable than busy work, even though deep work produces fewer tasks completed per day. It would require margins in the system. Slack. Time for thinking. Time for transition. Time to actually recover. But the system's optimization has removed all of that. Every corner has been cut. Every margin has been filled. Every moment has been assigned a purpose and a metric. You're not tired because you're failing at productivity. You're tired because you're succeeding at it. You're succeeding at a system that was never designed for human flourishing. It was designed for maximum extraction, maximum output, maximum measurable value. And the cost of that extraction is being paid entirely by you in exhaustion. The real reason you feel tired all the time is that you've been caught in a system that measures productivity in ways that guarantee exhaustion. The more efficient you become, the more work appears to fill the space. The more metrics you optimize, the more invisible labor emerges to support them. The more tools you use to manage your productivity, the more fragmented your attention becomes. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. And what it's designed to do is extract the maximum amount of work from you while making you feel like you're never doing enough. So you're not tired because you're doing too much. You're tired because you're trapped in a system that has weaponized efficiency against rest.